Brothers and sisters, we've all turned up the speakers to hear Brother Jimmy. From coast to coast and shore to shore, Jimmy's on the mic and on your screen. Can I get an amen? Unleash, unfiltered, unashamed, unafraid. Hey, God bless America and praise Jesus today. Start your day with Jimmy Lakey. Let the whole world see. House of Lakey Studios. The show starts now on 3. 1, 2, 3. There's infotainment, brilliant to get you on your way. From the Lakey Entertainment Tower, he's live with you each day. Unleash, unfiltered, unashamed, unafraid. God bless America and praise Jesus today.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. How is everybody? It's the, what is this? The 23rd day of January, year of our Lord, 2026. I got to still get that right. Glad to have all of you here on the program. I hope you're all doing very well. I hope you understand it's a day the Lord has made, and we should all rejoice and be glad in it. You know why? Because, first of all, it's the day the Lord has made. We should rejoice. It's also Friday. I like Fridays. Fridays are always a very, very positive thing because we're heading into the weekend. Although most of the country is about to get swamped by ice and snow. And here in Colorado, producer Chad informed me that it is 8 degrees outside the Lakey Entertainment Towers. When you pull into covered parking and at home you park in a garage, my friends, you don't oftentimes have to deal with that kind of nonsense. But here we are, my friends. We're here together. One together. We're here on Friday. And so everybody stay warm, Buttercup. Stay very, very warm. I got a message early this morning. I just saw that our Loa stepped in and said, good morning from East Texas. I got a message from our dear friend Laura Carno this morning. And Laura Carno informed me that according to her sources, and I don't know how she knows, that it's our Loa's birthday. That's what I heard from Laura Carno early this morning. I got a text from Laura Carno, and she says, dear Jimmy, it's our Loa's birthday. So our Loa, if the rumors are true, and Laura Carno's not just spreading shameless gossip, we want to wish our Loa a very, very, very happy birthday. Arloa, happy birthday to you. We appreciate you being a part of the show, and hopefully we at least keep you entertained for about an hour and, off the streets and not cause a problem for at least an hour a day. That's our goal, is to keep Arloa in line and focused on something before she goes out and, she may be protesting or throwing water bottles at ice. I don't know. We don't know how she spends her spare time out there in East Texas, but Arloa, we're glad at least for an hour or so a day that we're able to help you stay out of trouble. Donald Trump has returned back from Davos. He got off the Air Force One. And you ever wonder, I don't know, no one's ever told me, and I haven't asked, and I don't have anyone to ask really. I wonder if there's a sleeping quarters on Air Force One. And does Donald Trump ever just take a nap on Air Force One? I've heard members of the media say that it's not as fun. When they fly with Donald Trump, you don't get any sleep because you never know when he's going to come back and hold a presser. When you're on the Air Force One for these long flights, when the press pulls there, I don't know. But I just wondered that because I know he had a 3-hour delay going over because of an electrical problem we talked about in Air Force One, and they had to change planes, and that 3 hours delay. And so you just wondered, how long does a guy sleep at night, and does he take a nap there in Air Force One? I don't know the answer to it, but I think it would be a very fascinating answer to get. Donald Trump returns triumphant from Davos. That's my headline that I wrote down on my show sheet this morning, my notes, and I said, Donald Trump returns triumphant from Davos. And how else do you say he was not triumphant? You had the Danes, the Denmarkians, however you want to call them, mouthing off about Greenland, and yet Donald Trump went around them. And by the end of the summit, at the end of the conversation, Denmark was like, I think we're going to be able to work out a deal here. And supposedly the deal is going to be we will have unfettered access to Denmark for military establishment. There's going to be pockets of sovereignty. Right now, there is one major military installation on the big island of Greenland, and we're going to be able to put up a couple of more of those, several more of those. We're also going to have some great deals on minerals and all the things that natural resources from there. And Denmark's going to get an infusion of cash. It's also as far as our development and more personnel, and so it's going to be a win-win, and we're not paying a darn thing for it. So again, think of this, Drew. We've been trying to get Greenland since since the 1800s. We offered $700 million in gold. I talked about yesterday with Harry Truman. Donald Trump simply said the quiet part out loud about how we've been wanting Greenland since we bought Alaska, but just never has worked out. And Donald Trump says we're going to get everything we want. And according to sources, we're going to get everything we want from Greenland as far as access and national security and international security. And we're not going to pay a dime for it. So if this is the truth and this is what pans out, then the art of the deal seemed to have worked. I know there were some of you people that were panicking and going, oh, he's being so harsh and threatening military. And I said, don't sweat it, my friends. The brashness is what gets you the results. You don't get the results that Donald Trump gets, and some of you may hate the results, but you don't get the results he gets without the brashness and the aggressiveness. So you really can't have it both ways. Donald Trump's hurt my feelings sometimes, and my panties get in a little bunch sometimes because he says mean things. Well, he also gets stuff done, and there's a lot of people that speak nice all the time, and they speak with flowery words, but they don't really accomplish much, and their legacy isn't as long-standing as is Donald John Trump. So we can talk more about that, but he returns back from Davos victorious last evening. Dave Rubin, anybody follow him on the internet? Dave Rubin does a great job on a Twitter feed, and it's a couple of pages. I had to print them. It's too long to read. And I'm going to give you an explanation about why this was a big deal and why the global elites don't understand power, they don't understand authority, and they don't understand the tactic of Donald Trump because they've been surrounded and infested by a bunch of mealy-mouthed, limp-wristed politicians that just simply looking for the next rung of the power. They're looking for on the ladder of power. They're just simply out there looking to find out if they're going to get invited to the cocktail party. Are they like Gavin Newsom? I get to go to Davos, and there's famous people here, and it's the World Economic Forum, and it's the movers and shakers. It's the global elites. I get to brush elbows with him. You kind of get the feeling that Donald Trump did not give a rat's patootie about going to Davos to rub elbows with the global elites. Donald Trump already knows the global elites. Donald Trump went to Davos with a different mindset than, let's say, a Gavin Newsom or a Macron or anybody else. Everybody else goes there to meet with their friends and hold their pinkies in the air and to talk about whatever they're going to talk about. Maybe not accomplish anything, but just to kind of get all on the same page so that they can boss us, the plebeians around and tell us kind of which way it's going. Donald Trump didn't seem to care about that. He went into Davos not to see other people, to make sure that other people saw him because he had some business he would like to attend with them. So let me get to the Dave Rubin post here in just a moment. I'll also tease the rest of the show. Gregory Wrightstone is scheduled to be here with us with the CO2 Coalition. Also, Mike Kucharski is going to be on the show. He's a co-owner of one of the largest refrigerated trucking companies in America. And we're going to talk about a couple of things in the world of trucking that will affect you and the road. And you say, that's a no, promise me, you're going to like this topic. And our friend Sherry Cree is going to be back on the show with us as well. So don't go anywhere. It's Friday, the 23rd day of January, year of our Lord 2026. Donald Trump has returned triumphant for Davos. That's our lead story. Here's another big story that I think you don't realize the history we're living in. Murder rates in the United States of America since Donald Trump has returned to office and emphasized or put an emphasis, if you like to say it that way, an emphasis on law and order, and he's made the streets of D.C. safer, and he's trying to make other places safer. Murder rates in the USA have hit a 125-year low. That is a big deal. Also a big deal, there's a major figure in the Minnesota fraud case that claims Timmy Walz and Keith Ellison, their attorney general and their governor in Minnesota, they had to have known. Also, I've got a big-time question of the day that we'll start launching into right now. By the way, Canada. Canada's on the bat. One of the triumphs at Davos was Donald Trump established a board of peace. He's the chairman of the board of peace, and he named all these leaders and all these world global leaders and presidents and prime ministers, and kings are standing behind him. I don't know if there are kings there, but they're all hanging out, and Canada had an invite. He revoked it. He revoked Canada's seat on the Board of Peace. And what I find interesting is Donald Trump and the Board of Peace have accomplished more in the world, in the spectrum of peace than the United Nations ever does. You know what I'd like to see? This is maybe a pipe dream, that this Board of Peace become an ongoing thing. and the United Nations just kind of withers there on the vine. And if the Board of Peace starts working, I'm not sure that we need to keep spending all that money at the United Nations, clogging up traffic in New York City. New York City has enough problems. The United Nations can jump into the East River most days, is my opinion. But the Board of Peace is in place, and global leaders were very happy to get an invite to have a seat on the Board of Peace. So more to come on that. Let me get the question of the day, and then I want to dive into this Dave Rubin post. Ready? The question of the day. Yesterday was National Hot Sauce Day. I know a lot of you are kind of freezing out there. Cold ice is expected. So here's what I'd like to ask you. What is your favorite hot sauce? Growing up, we kind of only knew one. You had the one, the local Mexican restaurant, and I wasn't shopping when I was a kid, but I was eating as a kid, and we always seemed to have paste picante in the sauce for like a salsa. And then if we had the bottle hot sauce, my dad was an ardent partaker in Tabasco. And that might have been because he was raised in East Texas, right near the border of Louisiana. And Louisiana is where Tabasco comes from to this day. And so I'm just curious whether and that's why producer Chad and I were talking beforehand. And I said, hot sauce in every different areas means something else. Hot sauce, growing up, that was also what you got at the Mexican restaurant. Now I think we call it salsa, but at the time it's all hot sauce. So whether it's in a bottle or in a jar, what is your favorite hot sauce? It's cold weather outside. Maybe you're thinking about a big pot of chili. That would be a good thing. And by the way, producer Chad and I have this thing. If you're at it, if you can call it chili with beans, or you can call it bean soup, but you cannot just say chili if it has beans in it. All the Texans say amen, hallelujah. You're welcome. I wanted to set that straight. But now, what is your favorite hot sauce? I guess if I'm at a restaurant, and my son and I always get some Cholula. We like the Cholula. I like the Texas Pete's as well. When I go to Texas and I get to go to the glorious Whataburger, I sometimes stop there for breakfast and get the taquito with sausage and cheese. And when I get the taquito with the sausage and cheese, I like the little packets of salsa that they, or picante, whatever you want to call it, that they have in the Whataburger. So Laura Carno's jumping in there on the X feed, and she likes the Tapatio. Laura Carno likes to keep it authentic and south of the border. Tapatio with Laura Carno. What is your favorite hot sauce? Who's Cholula, or is it Tabasco? And so many choices now. If you have to ask me, because I travel a lot, and you know that, there's something that I buy in Africa. It's an oil-based, a chili oil. So it's not tomato-based, it's oil-based. It's called akabanga. And all of my friends, I know producer Chad, and anybody who's been to Africa with me knows that akabanga is a big deal at my house. I always have backup akabanga. Every time I go to Rwanda, I buy the akabanga. I actually, for a period of time, had negotiated the distribution rights to distribute akabanga in the USA. Never really followed through with those distribution rights. Someone else stepped in and tried it. They didn't do it because they didn't know what to do. RJ says, my favorite hot sauce is the 7-pot Primo Pepper from Buc-ee's. There's a Buc-ee's not far from me, and I have not tried their hot sauce yet. When I hear 7-pot, I hear 7, that's a high number. And I want a medium to medium full, like a cigar, and a medium full heat. I don't want ghost pepper hot. I don't need that kind of stuff in my life. I'm too old for that. But anyway, that sounds hot to me. 7-pot Primo Pepper from Buc-ee's. I have had a lot of the beef jerky at Buc-ee's. Great price on beef jerky, by the way. You don't have a Buc-ee's near you. So that's your question today. What is your favorite hot sauce? Yesterday was National Hot Sauce Day, and if you missed out on it, there is still time to celebrate National Hot Sauce Day. All right, let me dive into this Dave Rubin post. It is about Donald Trump, and I think this is probably one of the best explanations that I can think to give you, and Dave Rubin does it for me, so it makes me work a little bit less, and we appreciate it. Dave Rubin on X yesterday. This explains what happened at Davos. And for those of you that are just trying to observe, was he being a bully? Was he being mean? What happened? How did Donald Trump walk out? We're never going to get Greenland. And all of a sudden you have a deal to get Greenland. Listen to this. Davos elites panic when Trump speaks because he understands power and they don't. The meltdown over Donald Trump's casually floating a Greenland deal at Davos perfectly exposes how hollow the globalist worldview really is. Trump doesn't think like a career bureaucrat. He doesn't think like an NGO leader. or a Davos panelist whose entire job is flying business class to lecture working people. He thinks like a negotiator who understands power, leverage, geography, and national interest. Greenland isn't a joke. It's about Arctic dominance, shipping lanes, rare earth minerals, energy security, and military positioning in a world that is getting more dangerous by the day. China understands this. Russia understands this. They are aggressively expanding their influence, locking down resources, and playing for keeps. The only people pretending this stuff doesn't matter are Western elites who think hashtags, panels, and stakeholders capitalism can replace hard power. Contrast that with the Biden era. Here we go. America apologizing on the world stage, begging adversaries for cooperation, waiving sanctions, bleeding strategic reserves, projecting weakness while pretending norms would keep hostile actors in check. No leverage, no consequence, just lectures, confusion, and retreat, followed by chaos abroad and inflation at home. Dave Rubin continues. The real takeaway from Trump at Davos isn't the media snark, it's the quiet recalibration that's happening behind closed doors. World leaders know that Donald John Trump is back, and they're already adjusting. Under Trump, America doesn't subsidize incompetence. We don't surrender leverage, or we don't hand over power for applause. Deals matter again, consequences matter again, and respect follows strength. Dave Rubin told us it was a long post, but it explains it well to all of you people who need some splaining out here. This is why the left and the NGO industrial complex hate him so much. By the way, I like that phrase, NGO industrial complex, because that's what it is. That's what we were funding with Doge from USAID, and Doge cleaned up a bunch of that stuff. This is why the left and the NGO industrial complex hate him so much. Their entire model depends on weakening nation states, outsourcing authority to unelected experts, and insulating themselves from voters. Trump blows that up by insisting American power exists to serve Americans first, not Davos foundations, not global NGOs, not permanent bureaucracies. Dave Rubin nails it on the head, right there in the smack of it. If you didn't understand what was happening, it was a realignment, and it was a shaking down, not a shaking down financially, but a slapping down of the global elites who really just think that if they can appear on a panel, they have made it, and unelected bureaucrats can boss you around. And Donald Trump says those days are not happening under him. I would encourage you to take Dave Rubin. Also, if you want another understanding, it's amazing after all these years now as president, second term underway, and 10 years with Donald Trump on the political stage, that some people still panic when he says something brash. Some people still freak. He just said something harsh and someone's going to get their panties in a bunch. Shut up. Art of the deal. It's his tactic. He always says something out here. He dials it back. He goes back there, and you're going, all right, well, I don't want that one. You end up going where he wants to go. It's a negotiation, and it's just his style. It's how he does it. And I'm glad he does it that way. But some people that even like him say he doesn't have to be that brash. Well, that's the style. That's how you get the results. You don't get the results without that. Jesse Waters. Let me watch Jesse on Fox News. I watch the show occasionally, and I was tuning in last evening. I had recorded it, and I was watching it in delay. And I think that if you go back and watch last night's opening monologue with Jesse Waters, this will also help you understand the shifting of power on the global stage that's happening under Donald John Trump. He uses the reference daddy. Jesse Waters puts it in the paradigm daddy. When I think it was a NATO secretary a couple of months ago said, daddy's home. They called him Daddy Trump. And it became kind of a joke, but this is exactly what happens. You actually have dad has come home. You know, you remember your mom maybe said, wait till your father gets home. My mother didn't do that. She just took care of it herself. never got that. But you've heard that said, that you wait till your father gets home. And behaviors start to change. Well, the global elites have been running amok out there, doing what they want to do, not when they're supposed to do it, just not necessarily behaving in the best possible way. And the Donald Trump comes back and he's daddy's home. Go watch the monologue last night by Jesse Waters. I think it will bless your heart. And those of you still trying to understand the art of the deal and kind of the resetting that's happening on the global stage. And Donald Trump is leading that charge. I'm telling you, go watch that thing today. I'm telling you, watch it. The Jesse Waters monologue. And when you put it in perspective that daddy has come home to the global stage and everybody's realizes, you know what, I haven't been doing my chores. I've been asking for money, but I haven't been fulfilling my end of the deal. America's been giving me an allowance, but I've been slow. No. Those days are over. Daddy's home, and he's going to sit down the children, and he's going to have a little conversation and says, listen, we're all this together. My house is first, but I know I got to protect you guys, but you're going to have to pull your weight out there. And that's what it is when you view Trump from the role that Jesse Waters paints him on his show last night. I think that is another explanation that will make you very happy, and it will explain a lot. I just looked up at the chat room, and a lot of you are wishing, I think Arloa has confirmed it, that it is her birthday from East Texas. She's checking in every morning. And again, we're just thankful that this is the one opportunity we have to keep the streets of Tyler, East Texas. This is how you keep. Yes, Arloa says it's my birthday. So Arloa, happy birthday to you. And again, this is just one of 23 hours that we're able to keep you focused and out of trouble. So Linda says, Arloa Alexander, have a wonderful birthday. So Arloa, have a wonderful birthday. Linda said so, and she's ordering it. She doesn't say she hopes you do. She says, have it, do it. So Linda's home too. Daddy's home. Linda's home. You go have a good birthday. No, I have a great birthday, Arloa. And we're glad we can keep you off the streets and at least for a couple of hours a day. You're welcome for that. All right. Good to have all of you here. National Hot Sauce Day. Again, go read look up Dave Rubin on Twitter and read his post from yesterday. And also, if you do the one from the Dave Rubin piece on X, but also you got to go watch the Jesse Waters interview or monologue last night. I think you will be understanding. Again, any of you who are panicking about this Greenland thing and what are the Europeans aren't going to like us anymore. No, the Europeans know that daddy's home and they still like us. So it's going to be okay. I just saw a name flash on the screen that I think it's fascinating because I know this place. Stacey says, Mariano's Hacienda in Arlington, Texas. I like eating their hot sauce. Sometimes they give me extra to take home. You know what? I'll tell you about Mariano's. If you've never been to Mariano's, Mariano's is the first place that ever served a frozen margarita. Ever. And so there's the frozen margarita machine that they use to create the frozen margarita. They made it up. It's like in the Smithsonian. And when you walk in, there's this old machine. It's the frozen margarita machine. It is the original home of the frozen margarita. So just letting you know, if you ever go to Mariano's Hacienda in Arlington. By the way, when I was there this past year, as you know, I've been traveling a lot to take care of my mother as much as I can back in Texas. And so sometimes I had wanted to go to some restaurants that I used to venture and kind of in the old stomping grounds. And anybody who's in Texas, most people loosely define what we eat in Texas as Tex-Mex. And a lot of the Mexican food you have here is, I don't know what it is. It's not Tex-Mex. And I'm not even sure it's Mexican. I'm just not sure it is. It's a variation on the theme. So I was bouncing around. Every visit, I would go to a different place that I like to fancy, and I wanted some Tex-Mex flavors, if you will. Mariano's was one of those places, so I knew where it was, knew how to get there, but they'd torn some things down because growing up, here's how distinct of the area was. It's not far from Six Flags Over Texas, the new Cowboy Stadium. There used to be the first Chinese restaurant we ever ate at. It used to be across the parking lot right there. And there was also, I don't know if you ever heard of it, I think it's a Texas thing or maybe regional, Ponchos. There was a Ponchos. They tore that down. There's a strip club and some used car lots, but Mariano's are still in the exact same place, right? The exact same location. And so I went there. I went there a couple of months ago, and I sat down and I looked at the frozen margarita machine and said, I don't like frozen margaritas, but that's very nice. And I was reminded about that. And I had Mariano's, just let you know. So I know exactly where Stacey's talking about. Mariano's Hacienda in Arlington, Texas. It's again, if it comes in a bottle, what do you like? I've always did the Tabasco growing up, but now I'm probably lean more to the Cholula side. But if I do that, I need to make sure that my father does not haunt me from heaven, because we were a Tabasco family. That was the thing. My dad was not a drinker per se. And so you have some people that, we've always been a Coors family. We've always been a Budweiser family. By God, swear by it, right? You drink it because grandpa drank it. My dad had Tabasco. We were a Tabasco family. That's how you identified ourselves as a Tabasco family. A little spicy. So there you have it. All right. Your favorite hot sauce, feel free to jump in and let us know what it is. Whether it's a bottle or a jar, love to have you here. I said growing up, we had the Pace Picante sauce a lot. You remember the commercials for Pace? They found out that this stuff is made in New York City. Get a rope. They're going to hang him around the Western campfire. It was a fun commercial growing up. That's one of my favorite commercials of all time. And it was like, you had to eat the Pace because everything else was made in New York City. And get a rope. And they were going to hang the guy for that. So anyway, Pace. I don't know if I've had any Pace in a long time. I like Pace. Pace was very good. There's just so many different varieties of it now. All right. Who's going to get charged in Minnesota? We're waiting for Gregory Wrightstone. He might have had a miscue, so I'll just kind of keep going, producer Chad, and we'll wait for our next guest. Before I go to the fraud case in Minnesota, I've explained to you Donald Trump, and I've given you two sources to go check out: Jesse Waters' monologue last night and Dave Rubin on Twitter, if you really want to understand what that whole Greenland thing was about and how Davos was just a triumph victory for Donald John Trump. Go watch that monologue, read the Dave Rubin piece on X. But this is a story. You're living in history. We're living in very interesting times. I think we can agree with this. But the murder rate has hit a 125-year low in his first year back in office. This is the biggest single-year drop ever. Since they've been keeping records ever, they've never dropped this much. Last year will likely register the lowest national homicide rate in 125 years. The Council on Criminal Justice, a nonpartisan think tank, estimates, based on current available data from the United States, that the rate of homicide dropped 21% from 2024 to 2025 during Donald Trump's first year in office in his second term. When nationwide data for jurisdiction of all sizes is reported by the FBI in a couple of months, there's a strong possibility that homicides in 2025 will drop to about 4 homicides per 100,000 residents. That would be the lowest rate recorded in law enforcement or public health data going back to about 1900, and would mark the largest single percentage drop in homicide rate on record. The New York Times, no bastion of Trump fans, says the analysis of data comes from 40 cities by the Council of Criminal Justice, found across-the-board decreases in crime last year compared to 29. There's 25% fewer homicides, 13% fewer shootings, and 29% fewer carjackings. The New York Times reports the Federal Bureau of Investigations has not released the data, crime data for all the 2025, but statistics published by cities and collected by independent researchers are already telling the latest chapter of a remarkable story. Again, according to the New York Times, in just half a decade, cities have gone from upswings in murder and mayhem, the likes of which some had not seen in 25 years, to declines themselves worthy of headlines. The spikes began in 2020 with the shock of the global pandemic, and just a few months later, sweeping protests over police killings, both of which strained the capacity of law enforcement. The Council on Criminal Justice pointed out that crime overall had begun dropping in 2024 before Trump took office, though not at the same rate. The White House took a victory lap, touting it as one of Trump's campaign pledges to make America safe again. So that's pretty historic. You go back 125 years. That's a pretty big statistic out there after 125 years. That's a pretty big number to drop that, to have that 20% decrease in 1 year, the biggest drop and the lowest crime rate overall in 125 years. So they're just throw that out there. It's historic times, and I think sometimes we'd read that headline and go, that's no big deal. You put that in perspective, that's a real big deal, because we live in argumentative, intense times. We live with people that are bat crap crazy out there roaming the streets, many of them protesting things, but the murder rate has still hit a 125-year low. And so in the divided times that we feel like we live in, that's a positive sign that things have started to do, at least in the murder world, and other crime statistics as well, have decided that they're going to die down a little bit. All right. Minnesota. I got to talk Minnesota. I think one of the reasons Ellison and Walz keep these riots going and they won't cooperate is because the more you're talking about Nicole Good, the more you're talking about ICE and the protest there, you're not talking about the waste, fraud, and abuse that has happened in Minnesota for a period of time after the Nick Shirley expose. For a period of time, there was a for a period of time there was. How do you say this? For a period of time, there was a focus on Timmy Walz. There was a real focus on Tim Walz and his criminal behaviors and the enterprises that were there. Well, now that they can distract you, and again, your puppet masters can say, no, we're outraged about this. We were outraged about this, but with a little bit of violence on the street and some paid protesters and agitators, they're able to make the weak-minded start only thinking and reporting on this, when actually what you should be paying attention to is the waste of taxpayer dollars that Walz and Ellison had happening in the state of Minnesota. Now, here's the story. It's out there. Major figure in the Minnesota fraud scandal claimed that Tim Walz and Keith Ellison knew what was happening. Let me tell you, a woman who has been convicted of welfare fraud in Minnesota and is considered a major figure in the scandal plaguing the state is now claiming that Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison knew what was going on the whole time. The news comes at a rough time for Walz and Ellison, who are already under the microscope of an investigation by the Department of Justice. Ellison has responded to this woman's claim by saying that as a fraudster herself, she lacks credibility. By the way, let me put this out. Remember, women are always to be believed, no matter what. If a woman says it, you had to believe it. Remember that in the days of the Me Too movement? Well, this lady has now claimed that Walz and Ellison probably knew, and Ellison says, she's a criminal. We should never listen to her. I thought all women were to be believed. A Minnesota woman convicted in one of the largest states' fraud schemes alleged in a jailhouse interview that Governor Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison were aware of widespread fraud. Amy Bach is her name, the head of a nonprofit called Feeding Our Future. She spoke to Fox News from Sherburne County Jail in Minnesota, claiming that state officials continued approving and continued paying claims even after concerns were raised about potential fraud. Ms. Bach alleged the state-approved program sponsors was responsible for monitoring claims, but officials repeatedly failed to investigate or stop suspicious companies after she flagged them. I honestly believe, in a quote, a jailhouse interview, that Keith Ellison and Governor Walz need to be held accountable. There needs to be investigation done. If they weren't aware, that's concerning too. That's a good point. I have to believe that the governor's office and Keith Ellison's office were aware of this. They have said they were involved in helping the FBI. They said they were made aware, but apparently I'm scary, so they couldn't do anything. So said they let me get by with it. I was flagged, and they let me keep going. In response, a spokesperson for Ellison's office said Bach lacked credibility, pointing out her federal prison sentence. She's a liar, a fraudster, and manipulator of the highest order who has never acknowledged or accepted her guilt. Now she's on the media tour to deflect her guilt onto others, and instead of finally taking responsibility for the fraud scheme she ran. This is a great case of Ellison, shoot the messenger, but not really comment about the message. And we'll find out exactly what happens. I'm sure this is being looked at, and I'm sure this is why Keith Ellison, Tim Walz hope that you're paying attention to rioting on the streets and invading churches and all the stuff that the left is doing out there, because they don't want you paying attention to what they're doing when it comes to what they were doing when it comes to waste, fraud, and abuse. That's a great story. I'm now wanting some hot sauce. Question of the day: what is your favorite hot sauce? And I am now wanting hot sauce. There's gonna have to be hot sauce in my future today. Delilah heard me make a pot of chili, and she texted me. She says, "Are you making a pot of chili at the house at your house today?" And I should probably make some chili. Maybe I'll do that later today or something. I do my chili in the crock pot. Who else does crock pot chili? I do the slow cooker stuff. Not that it matters. I'm sure all of you not wanting to. I know some people, I could. I haven't thought about it. It's just me at my house. I mean, I live in a big house, and it's just me. And so my meals are not necessarily big productions because it's just me. When my son was around, always on a cold weather weekend like this is going to be, would make a pot of chili and feast on that. But with just me, but maybe I'll make some chili. Maybe I should. I think that could be a fantastic idea. Maybe I'll make some chili. It's National Hot Sauce Day. And, Tabasco or Cholula and chili it was just when you have in the bowl, put that on there. By the way, a little hot sauce. This is a side note talking about hot sauces. Anybody ever go to Wendy's, the fast food chain? If you ever get chili from Wendy's, I don't know what it is. I guess it's kind of a hot sauce. It's a little packet of hot sauce that they give you for your chili. That's actually pretty good. It's kind of vinegar based, but I like it. It's kind of a nice little taste there. Very nice, Wendy's. You did good. Is that a brand? I know if you go to Chick-fil-A, sorry, the fat guy talking about all the fast food places. If you go to Chick-fil-A, I guess this is nationally, and you get a little packet of hot sauce or something, it's usually Texas Pete's, and that's a good hot sauce. Usually it's a Texas Pete's, but that's a good sauce too. But the Wendy's, it's a little packet, a little kind of foil gold looking color. You sprinkle that on your little bowl of chili that's about this big. And they should have an extra large bowl of chili from Wendy's, by the way. They don't have that. They should do it. They should do it a little bit bigger. All right, the GOP is working to pass some bills in the United States Congress. And the senators have come up with an idea that probably sounds like a good one to me. It's a bill that will increase penalties for anybody that assaults an ICE officer. This is the Republican U.S. senators led by John Cornyn have introduced the ICE Protection Act to increase penalties for those who assault and injure U.S. immigration, customs, and enforcement officers. The bill was filed as an unprecedented amount of assaults continue against U.S. ICE immigration, customs, enforcement officers as they perform daily immigration enforcement duties. The radical left, according to Cornyn, said has taken up a senseless crusade against our brave men and women in law enforcement, and Democrats' inflammatory rhetoric have fueled an alarming rise in violence and not only endangers our community, but also harms the very people sworn to keep them safe. This legislation would increase penalties for any offender who violently assaults the law enforcement officer, including by using a car or a truck as a weapon, and sends a clear message that those attacks are on people who protect and serve will not be tolerated. The bill does have several co-sponsors. It would increase penalties for those who assault ICE officers, resist arrest, and interfere with law enforcement official duties while using deadly or dangerous weapons. It would also increase penalties if an officer is injured during the assault. It also adds mandatory minimum sentences for those who use vehicles to attack officers. So it would amend the Title 18 U.S. Code to enhance penalties for those who use deadly or dangerous weapons, including a weapon that is intended to cause death or danger, but fails to do so by reason of a defective component inflicts bodily injury. So you might want to call your U.S. senator, maybe your U.S. House member, if you're a supporter of that bill, and say, hey, Cornyn has released this bill, introduced a bill. I think we should pass that thing, increasing penalties for those people who assault ICE officers. So that is a topic of conversation. You may want to make a phone call to your member of Congress. Feel free to call. Let them know that you would like you to pass the Cornyn bill. But like them to pass the Cornyn bill. All right, what else do we have here? I want to get to another story. Then Sherry Crease coming up on the program. We're batting 1,000. Krzyzewski's not showing up either. Maybe everybody's frozen in. Maybe everybody's frozen in right now. They look like Bernie Sanders sitting at the inauguration, that their mittens and their muffins on. Muffins? Earmuffs, not muffins. Earmuffs. Their muffs on, like Bernie Sanders sitting at that first Donald Trump inauguration. Remember that photo? That was classic. Here's the good news. The United States has withdrawn from the World Health Organization. Run and influenced by the communist Chinese, spread a lot of lies about the booger cootie virus and the origins of the COVID. That's what I call the booger cootie virus. After 77 years, the United States has officially severed ties with the corrupt and Chinese-influenced, globalist-controlled World Health Organization. President Trump, fulfilling a promise he made to the American people, completed withdrawal on Thursday, exactly 1 year after signing the executive order that set the wheels in motion. The controversial Ethiopian politician and director of general of the World Health Organization practically begged the United States to rejoin. the UN-run agency, after Trump signed the executive order. The move strips away the shackles of globalist control, writes the writer, ending decades of U.S. taxpayers footing the bill for an organization, the World Health Organization, that is riddled with incompetence, bias, and failures that cost countless lives during the COVID-19 catastrophe. The World Health Organization was long criticized as a puppet of communist China, bungled the early response to the Wuhan virus, parroting Beijing's lies and pushing the experimental vaccines to the entire world. For decades, the World Health Organization has demanded billions, I say that with a B, billions of American taxpayer dollars while pushing radical agendas, failed pandemic treaties, draconian lockdowns. They said they're the ones that encourage that global lockdown. They wanted to control your doctor, your medications, even your ability to travel. And the U.S. has officially withdrawn from that, leaving the Gates Foundation and an organization called Gavi, G-A-V-I, to fill the power vacuum as the top donors. So we were giving $988 million a year. The Bill Gates Foundation gives $727 million. So, Bill, why don't you just step right up and you write that check? It's amazing looking at this list of countries that give money to the World Health Organization, and this is what I would call the NGO industrial complex. They're bilking taxpayers and governments around the globe. Germany gives $317 million. The World Bank gives $335 million. The United Kingdom gives $360 million. The European Commission gives $446 million. The Gavi Alliance gives $559. Bill and Melinda Gates. And if you follow what Bill Gates often stands for, you wonder if he has anything to do with health or just population control. So it's a very good move, and it should be something that all of us could say, that's good. We don't need to be sending $988 million to an organization run by some Ethiopian guy who's a puppet of China and got the whole pandemic and the COVID stuff incorrect. We don't need to be spending millions of dollars on that. And I'm glad that we have pulled out of that. Thank you very much, Donald Trump. And that $988 million. Here's what I wish would happen. When President Trump does that, I wish his administration, and maybe they're planning to go there, maybe they come out and say, we're saving $988 million. Here's where we're going to reallocate. The money's already been allocated. It's already in the budget. Here's how we're going to reallocate, or here's what I would like to do with that money. And I think that would be a very positive thing if we started doing that. I know the left's going to squawk, and they would never admit that the Chinese are bad. They never admit that it's an incompetent organization. They never admit the screw ups of the booger cootie virus and the lockdowns, all because they hate Donald Trump that much. But it's a corrupt organization, and that's almost $1 billion that the United States gets to keep here, and let's put it to something much more effective than the World Health Organization. You wonder where your taxpayer dollars? Every time you look at that paycheck, you're like, man, the deductions, they take all this money out of it. You know where that's going? It's not going to the potholes here. It's not going to make your life better. It's going to the World Health Organization, a big chunk of that. And now it's not going to go there. Very good. All right, the question today is, what's your favorite hot sauce? Can be a bottle or a jar, doesn't matter to me. Dave says, I like Valentina hot sauce, and yes, beans belong in chili. First of all, Dave, you're blasphemous. It could be in bean chili, it could be bean soup, but beans do not belong in chili, Dave. Don't maybe get stern with you. I like Valentina hot sauce. I've never heard of Valentina. Delilah, are you familiar with Valentina hot sauce? Look it up. And no, beans don't belong in chili, ever. Now, you can call it what you want, but it's not real. It's not authentic. You're welcome. Listen, don't argue with me. Yes, Wendy's does put beans in their chili. I understand that. But it's Wendy's. It's not a fine dining experience. It's decent bean soup. But yes, it's the Wendy's chili. It has beans in it. Somebody asked, have I ever put beans in my chili? Yes, when my son was young and I made a pot of chili, he liked it, and I was trying to get extra protein in him. I would get a very high protein bean, like a black bean, just to get extra protein and meat, because a lot of times when the kids of Rwanda oftentimes are protein deficient, so I was always finding extra ways to pack it in. But I didn't call it chili. I called it bean soup. So, yeah, but I had put beans in something that would be chili had I not corrupted it and put beans in it. You just don't do that. Just understand, you just don't do that, okay? Dave says, and you're from Texas. Listen, you can ask. Producer Chad asked his buddies down in the Houston area, law enforcement. He said, Lakey says there's no beans in chili. Is he right? They're like, hell yeah, he's right. Yeah, you don't put beans in chili. It's not supposed to be that way. Yeah. Now, if you're from some other foreign state, like, Oklahoma, they probably put beans in chili. And that's fine. I don't judge you for doing it, but just be careful how you call it chili. Don't argue with me. Hell, everybody argues with me. It's all right. Ladies and gentlemen, glad to have you here on the show. It's a pleasure. Gregory Wrightstone, if you're watching, we miss you. We don't know where Greg. Everybody's frozen in today. It's like they're all frozen. By the way, there's hundreds of flights that have either been canceled and or delayed for today and tomorrow. So if you're planning to fly somewhere across the country, it doesn't matter if you're going west, away from the cold, you might want to check. There's been a lot of flights already canceled and delayed for today and for tomorrow. So I'm just warning you, it could be a bad travel weekend. You might have to change your plans. You might have to reschedule a trip. Again, just because, if your flight was originating in Philadelphia, and there was a flight Philadelphia to LA, and that plane was what you're going to use to go LA to Phoenix, that plane may not be there. That plane may not be there. So be careful. Check your flights. Make sure the flight attendants or the airlines know how to get in touch with you. And they'll text you and check the websites and just make sure, because there's already a lot of delays happening today. And I think their big part of the storm is going to happen overnight tonight. Overnight tonight into the weekend. And that's going to be, there's even going to be more. So if it's already this many backups and cancellations, it's going to be a tough weekend to travel out there. So be very careful, mark your plans, and be safe out there. And if it's ice, I know some of you want to make fun of those people. They can't drive in the snow. Well, they're not going to get snow. They're going to get ice, like an inch of ice, and it's not going to be very good. Jim says his sour cream allowed as a topping for chili in Texas. Yeah, what you top your chili with is not my business. What you do in the privacy of your own chili bowl is not my deal. I don't care. You can slather whatever you want. I put hot sauce. Sour cream is good. Some chives, some green onion. That's always a good thing. My favorite for the chili is, all my friends know that I have I have a problem. I love saltines. I think saltines are like fantastic. If they had more nutrition, I'd probably eat. Justin says beans belong in chili. No, it doesn't. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. It doesn't belong in chili. Just because you say it, Justin, doesn't make it true. And you're on YouTube as well. So, those YouTubers sometimes are a little iffy out there. Those YouTubers sometimes are in their mama's basement. Some of them. Not all of them. There's some good YouTubers out there. But no. Cheese and Fritos. Oh, yeah. You put this was like a meal at our house sometimes. My mom would make some chili. Maybe she put beans in it. She make bean soup. It didn't matter, because it was a pie filler. It's called the Frito pie. You put a big bag of original Fritos in there. You put the chili on top. You put some sprinkles of cheese, and it's good. Very good. The real question with chili is not beans, says Bob, or no beans. It's beef or pork. I don't judge either way. I'm not going to judge. I have actually mixed in a little chorizo with my chili before. So I don't judge that at all. Don't judge it at all. Ray's on YouTube, so he's normal. He says chili on nachos. Yes, chili and nacho cheese, that is a very thing. Justin says chili without beans is just meat stew. No, you got to have vegetables for a stew to happen. You have cubed potatoes and carrots and stuff. It's, yeah. All right, glad to have all of you on the program. We got distracted here. Let me welcome to the program Sherry Cree, realtor extraordinaire, and I don't know. Now we got an argument going about beans and chili. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Jimmy.
When you and your hubby have chili, are there beans in your chili at the Cree house?
Yes, and then I like elk chili.
Elk. Oh, that's so delicious. Elk. Okay, I like the elk part. We got to talk about the bean thing because that's an elk soup, but I'm not going to. I like you too much to judge you there. Sherry, great to see you Tuesday at the Casbar. That was a fun day. Yes. And I know when you left there, you had car trouble. Did you get that fixed up?
Yes. It was a computer that freezing up. So.
Yeah, I hate it when those computers freeze up. Believe me, I know car troubles. I've spent the last 2 Sundays in tow trucks watching my car go away. Finally bought another car yesterday, and so it's been a rough 2 weeks for cars for me.
Oh, no.
So it's all right. I'll survive, but I felt bad for you, and I was like, yeah. Yep. Sucks to be sucks to have a car problem. All right. I want to talk real estate. We talk about signs and strategy and money and pricing of homes. But one of the things I was talking to somebody at the roadshow the other day, and they said realtors like Sherry, they're so connected. They know everyone. And you sent me a topic. So let's talk about this. And downsizing, I just had to kind of downsize for my mother, and I wish it was more organized. I had to do some decluttering and ship some things home, but it's a really big deal. But it's really something that we should probably constantly be doing, so that when the time for selling or moving or packing up or something happens to us, we need to get more organized. Sherry, we in America tend to be pack rats, and we tend to just accumulate junk. And you sent me some information, but space planning, decluttering, it's an important thing, and maybe it can even help your house sell quicker if it's not so cluttery.
Yeah, I have a special focus in serving real estate needs for seniors, but not only just seniors, but the families with aging parents. So there's a lot of housing transition associated with aging. And I host a monthly speaker series called Aging Wisely Workshop in partnership with a local library. And we have a different speaker lineup. And we just had Estate Planning 101 for January, and then we have a February one coming up for technology and AI for seniors. And then March, I will be one of the speakers to talk about downsizing and decluttering. So, we are trying to support life transitions for not just for seniors, but all families involved. To make things easier and to downsize or relocate. So the sale of the house is part of the possible transition, but it's not just only for sales. So you could be buried in stuff. And then I have seen a funny meme on social media the other day, and it's just like garage packed with stuff, like the hoarder situation, and the elderly gentleman saying, I'm leaving these for my kids, as a gift. And then kids do not want them. And then it just creates a lot of chaos when you have to go into the assisted living or independent living, or, we all leave this world at some point. So, I wanted to, bring it to everybody's attention that as a realtor, we work with all different service providers, and there is an area of service around seniors, and there are professional organizers, professional help to tackle stuff. And then not only just stuff, but also like financially, you want to organize your will, trust, set up, estate planning, tax planning, and then not just the financial and legal, stuff to be organized, but also it could be personal stuff. And I just wanted to bring that to attention, that there are a lot of support in the professional services, along the transitioning of, housing.
It's I would tell all the parents out there, and I've been more aware of this, and I'm much younger than my mother is. But after she's been ill this year, and I had to move her out of her apartment and all the things that have gone on, she did pretty good. She went from a 4-bedroom, but she still kept a lot of stuff, and it's sad that then I have to make the decision going, you got to get out of here, and you're putting stuff in the dumpster that would horrify her that would go to the dumpster. But I've been more cognizant, even in my house, to I'm going to say, nope, my son doesn't want to deal with that in 20 years or 30 years or 40 years. And I've been trying to pay attention to just kind of clean up as I go. It's hard to do. It's easy to kind of keep stuff and say, it's kind of like my closet, Sherry. I have clothes that hang in there, and I say, one day I'm going to get down to that weight again, and I'm going to wear it. And
I do have those clothes too. So it's not just for seniors, all of us. It's a psychological, project to tackle. Yes.
I'm guessing the reason, we can talk about it again, estate planning, wills, and trust. Make sure you're prepared there. But if somebody's going to sell their home and you're going to do an open house and you're trying to show the glory and magnificence of their house and the beautiful 3 or 4 car garage, and you walk out there and there's not a car in the garage because it's piled high with boxes, I'm guessing that doesn't help the sale.
Yes, that will hinder your sale. Also, when you're marketing a home for sale, you have to neutralize your space so that appeal to the bigger audience. So it's not the matter of good and bad on the decor or taste or color. It's about how you can allow potential buyer to envision their life there. So when I work with also a feng shui specialist, and then that's the Chinese what do you call the space philosophy of energy, qi, that kind of stuff. And interesting thing I learned at the recent class is you place a large, beautiful mirror on the inside the entry, and when the buyer walks in to see the house, that subconsciously they see themselves in the mirror in the house, and then that will have a positive impact of envisioning yourself in that space. And then I thought that was interesting, but nobody wants to see other people's stuff.
No, they don't want to, and it's important to kind of plan ahead. Now, whether you're going to sell, but just for the future generations, your kids, start doing that. Also, you mentioned wills and estate plan. Most of us kind of think about it. I think it's important every once in a while. I do this with my trust that I meet with my attorney every couple of years just to kind of, are we still dialed in? My son's now 16, now he's 18, now he's 21. And it changes, and you always should be tweaking that. If you wrote a will, your last will and testament 20 years ago, it's probably a real good idea to check it out, make sure it's still right.
Right. And then recently, it's about like how you take title to the home. And a lot of us are in a emerging family, like it's your second marriage or third marriage or whatever, and then each party may have the heirs they intend to pass along their portion of the ownership, or you want to have your partner to take the whole ownership when you go. So a lot of the legal things, financial things that you may not be aware how it's set up, although you did chose at one point, but you need to understand how your assets and financials are set up, like your beneficiary designation for your bank account, all those things that our life evolves and things changes. So it's always a good idea to review them regularly with your professional.
That's the voice of Sherry Cree. Her website is homeswithsherry.com. Sherry, I've been really hitting hard on this thing of make sure you know your season. Maybe, you can sometimes wait 30 days and get less money for a home in the seller's market. So you want to make sure you're getting things. But there's another thing people could call you about, not just about the right timing, but you're able to kind of go in and say, okay, I'm going to speak to you with love, but that's a little cluttery. We need to clean that closet out. I mean, you can connect people. You have people in your connection that you can say, this company will do it for you. They'll help you. They'll walk through it with you, because sometimes it is overwhelming, and that's important. So that's part of the conversation they need to have with you.
Yeah, it's we all want to, pay less, right? And then sometimes how much does it cost to have a professional help me organize and get ready for the market? But if you miss that timing because you don't have help, and then it takes longer, then you could be losing on the sale of the house, the proceed, because you missed the good timing to put a house on the market. So I would, encourage you to take a look at your situation and then plan ahead to, involving the professional support as needed. So.
Sherry, I appreciate you. Homeswithsherry.com. That's your website, homeswithsherry.com. If you think you're ready to buy, think you're ready to sell, call her now. Talk about the timing, talk about when you're ready, what you might need to do to get ready, both all of these things. That if you need a connection with someone that can help you organize, clean that space up, Sherry's your person. Homeswithsherry.com. And again, talk about title. Make sure you have all that in gear in case something happens, and she can kind of point you in the right direction on that, so that in these world of emergent families coming together, that you're not leaving chaos behind when you don't get off this planet alive. Right. Sherry, I appreciate it. Homeswithsherry.com. That's her website. Go check it out if you're in the I-25 corridor. I know it's cold this weekend, but you know what? You got nothing better to do. Call Sherry and maybe go look at some houses, or have her talk to her about selling yours. It's right now a good time to start selling. Even though it's cold, it's a good season of the time. Early season is good. Homeswithsherry.com. Homeswithsherry.com. Has the fight stopped about the chili? Can we do polls? I think we do a Twitter poll, but a lot of these comments are coming from people on YouTube about the bean soup. Now I'm hungry for elk. Sherry mentioned elk. Ooh, that sounds good. Sounds real good. But I may make some chili today. Delilah. No, I got work to do, but at sometime in the midst of it, I may go to we'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. All right. What else? I got one more story I didn't get to this week. It's been on my sheet, and I want to get to it, and then we're going to wrap it up for the day. I talked about we have withdrawn from the World Health Organization, run by the communist Chinese. Probably should have left that years ago. They've bungled up a whole lot of international health stuff. I don't feel any healthier because of the World Health Organization. Then almost $1 billion. I'm thinking we can keep that right here. Thank you very much. Did you hear this? Elon Musk. I know I say his name. Some of you used to love him. He was the glory boy of electric cars until you found out that he was voted for Trump. Now you hate him. You have to hate anybody that hates Trump. You got to call him a nasty name. You'll call him a racist, bigot, homophobe. It used to be racist, bigot, homophobe, and then the pedophile. That seems to be the American left, the intellectually bankrupt, the mentally shallow. They just keep adding names that they're going to call you. That's all they do. Well, Elon, this is going to set some of you apoplectic. Oh, my God, Elon's done this. Elon has dropped $10 million on pro-Trump, anti-McConnell Senate candidate super PAC, according to a report. This is the pro-Trump candidate running to replace the retiring Mitch McConnell, as Rush Limbaugh used to call him, the turtle, a recurring GOP critic of the president's actions as recently as the Greenland kerfuffle got a tech mogul's largest single contribution ever to a Senate candidate by the way of a super PAC. So there's this guy that's this candidate, pro-Trump candidate running to replace Mitch McConnell, who Mitch McConnell, he did good on judges in the first term. You got to give him credit where credit is due, but he's also just kind of been a mealy mouth. And I don't think Mitch McConnell has any sway anymore. I don't think there's anybody in the Republican Party that listens to him because, as we said earlier, as Jesse Waters said, daddy's home. And so we're not paying attention. The on-again, off-again Trump ally, Elon Musk dropped $10 million on Fight for Kentucky, which is backing an outsider entrepreneur, Nate Morris. That's an encouraging sign for the GOP that Musk will come to their rescue again in the midterms after spending $300 million on pro-GOP causes. He just dropped $10 million on one Senate seat in Kentucky, and that's good. It goes back to that Jesse Waters thing. I talk about nobody pays attention to Mitch McConnell because we just realize he's old. He should have left years ago, but bless his heart. That's what we say in the South. Bless his heart and put beans in his soup. I don't care. Beans in his chili. Bless his heart. Waters talks about this, that the Democrats don't have a daddy. He was jokingly, but Waters put it out there that Trump's daddy. And so people kind of fall in line because daddy's home and you don't have to like it. And you can huff and puff and pout in your bedroom and slam the door. But I'm sorry, we have somebody keeping order. The Democrats don't have daddy anymore. I mean, Bill Clinton's persona non grata for the most part. Barack Obama's, he tried to control things behind the scenes, and even Michelle Obama slapping him around on podcast all the time. So they don't really have Al Gore. He's like 1 billion years old, and he's been proven to be a farce and a charlatan when it comes to the global warming and climate change. And this is how you end up with Gavin Newsom. This is a point that Jesse Waters makes. Go watch last night's show. I think it's a great kind of perspective of where we're at. The Democrats don't have daddy. They don't have the strong senior figure, the dad that says, Gavin, You got to knock this off. I mean, Stephen A. Smith, and maybe as close as they get, and he's not even a politician, Stephen A. Smith is going after Gavin, saying, Gavin, you can hate Trump. That's fine. Mouth off here. But when you go overseas, that's not the place to go on a speaking tour bashing the president of the United States. He says, we don't take our dirty laundry to other places. But there's nobody in the Democrat Party that will do that and to kind of slap people in line. So you get Gavin Newsom. Just he was handing out knee pads. He's like selling merch. He says that Donald Trump's getting on his knees, and it's a sexual reference. And he's handing out Donald Trump knee pads, and he's selling them, I guess, for $100. They were red, and they have a fake pen signature of Donald Trump on the knee pad. And I'm like, you want to be president of the United States, and you go to Davos, and you don't talk about anything about international security, national security. You don't talk about anything about trade routes. You just kind of talk about how much you hate Donald Trump, and you thought his speech was boring, and you think that he's down on his knees doing what, and you're holding up knee pads. This is where the Democrats need a daddy that would tell them, hey, Gavin, this is, for the most part, not only does the record in your state suck, not only is your state whole, but Gavin, you have to you need to act presidential. Or are you going to do to America what you did to the Californian economy? Really? Don't want that. So maybe you could pretend to be a national security expert, but you're so Trump derangement syndrome and so mentally ill because of that, you're handing out knee pads, talking about sexual acts and using them as a sex toy. That's probably not the best look for Gavin Newsom. But again, go back and watch Waters. I think you'll find it quite intriguing. It would be a fantastic thing for you to do. All right. Couple of things. You ready? I'll pause here. Couple of things. It's Friday, and that means we'll be back here Monday morning. Look forward to that. And I do know that Friday's a day that some of you get a little paycheck. And I just ask you to consider something. I'm going to write an email. I meant to get one out yesterday, but as you heard me talk to Sherry, I've been dealing with car problems and all sorts of issues going, but I shelve them. It's fine. Producer Chad helped me out a little bit. Has helped me out quite a bit on that. And so anyway, it's good. Anyway, so all that said is I got to write this email. And of all the pains in my butt, it's not things that's going to make Lakey lose sleep at night. It's feeding kids. I don't sweat about politics. I don't sweat that people on YouTube sit in their mama's basement and call me. It doesn't bother me at all. Water off a duck's back. It's okay. I've been in this business long enough. But feeding kids through our organization, Rivers Promise, is one of those big deals. Feeding the kids in Rwanda is a very big deal. And really, since the days of COVID, food has been the albatross around our neck. Because the cost of food here, your grocery stores went up. It goes up there. And so the fact that we're still able, a matter of fact, we should be allotting more money for food, but we're on the bare minimum, and we're on the very bare minimum. Okay, so we do it. $1 a day feeds a kid 2 meals a day for 30 days at Legacy Christian Academy, and a lot of sponsorships cover that. But as costs go up and prices go up, we have to supplement. And then a lot of kids at our school are not fed. And are not sponsored, and therefore we have to provide their food as well. And it's a joy to provide their food. If you can watch these kids go to our school, and knowing that this is there's parents that say, I haven't eaten for a couple of days, but my kids are eating at school. This is no joke. Joe Biden said, no joke. So food is a big deal. And so I'm going to send out an email. And if anybody would like to help us with food, it's real simple. You make a donation. You give to Greatest Need. I will tell you right now, our greatest need in Rwanda is food. And it's been a tough one. Right now, we're a little short on the food here because the price just keeps going up. And these are real meals. These are cooked meals. If you've seen photos of them, I post them, they're real meals. And so if you'd like to help make a donation, you can sponsor a child. We'd love that. The kids love to get a sponsor. But if you want to do just a monthly food donation or not physical food, we're not sure. We can't ship food over there. That's not going to work. We have to buy it there. We buy the local markets love us, but we need to buy more food. We need to feed more kids. Hunger is a real issue. And again, I've got people that their kids come to our school. They know their kids are going to get 2 meals a day, and mom and dad may get a meal every once in a while, but they're happy that their kids get to eat. So if you'd make a donation today, a generous donation, I don't care, it's $1, it feeds a kid for a day. If it's $30, that's an entire month. Maybe you can do more. I don't look with covetousness, because covetousness is not healthy. It's not in the Bible. But I always look at these people that give $10 million to a political action committee. And I'm fine. I like the cause that Elon's supporting, but $10 million to political action committee, what that political action committee does on this earth is not necessarily going to carry over into it's not mattering for eternity. But the Bible says take care of the widows, take care of the orphans, because that is true religion. So if anybody's knows Elon, we can take $10 million. We would solve a lot of our problems, finish building more schools, etc. So again, I'm glad. I'm not acting from jealousy. I'm glad Elon's able to give that. But it is amazing how many people will spend a lot of money on things that are temporal, things that are not eternal. But I believe caring for orphans and vulnerable children becomes one of those eternal things that really make a difference and really make a huge difference. So if you'd like to make a donation, go to riverspromise.org today. I'm just being honest and vulnerable. Food is an ongoing issue. They've asked if they could increase our budget for food and operations, and I've said, now we're barely hitting where we're at now, guys. And so it's a big deal. So if you can make a donation today, riverspromise.org, this weekend, riverspromise.org. Next time you're sitting down eating that chili with beans in it. Well, by the way, we buy a lot of beans. Beans are a staple sort of protein. One of the ways we get protein to the kids, we buy eggs, a lot of eggs, and bags of beans. I mean, hundreds of tons of beans, and we buy beans every month, and that's a great source of protein. And we do that. So all of you bean lovers out there, donate today. Help us buy beans for the kids. And I'll even make chili for them with beans in it. Next time I go over there, we'll make chili with beans in it. Their spices are a little bit different, and well, we'll think about chili, and I'll put beans in it for the kids, and I'll do it for all of you. So as you're thinking about beans, bison, and chili, I would love to have your help. Beans, bison, and chili. That sounds like the name of my recipe book that I may write today. All right. Appreciate all of you. Riverspromise.org, riverspromise.com. Food is on my mind. Food was on my mind all day yesterday while I was doing car stuff, and food is on my mind today. And sign up for our email letter, riverspromise.org, and you'll get a couple of emails a month, and that's it. That's it. And you can also sign up. Tomorrow, next Monday, we'll tell you how we can text you. I'd like 1, 2, 3 texts a month at most, if ever. Matter of fact, we have people on the text list we've never texted because we're not that kind of group. We're not. All right. Silver 6881 on YouTube says, beans, I knew you'd come around. I didn't come around. I said for the children. It's all for the kids. I'll put beans in some soup for them over there in Rwanda because we got to buy beans, though. Got to buy beans. You knew I'd come around. No, beans don't go in chili. I'm sorry. They just don't. But I do like Wendy's chili, and it has beans in it. I got to go to my favorite joint down the street that serves barbecue. They have a chili. I wonder if they have beans in it. I've never had it. Now I'm curious. We'll do a survey. Who does beans in chili? Make a donation. It's called your bean donation. If you don't like beans, we buy rice as well. We buy eggs. We buy all sorts of stuff. Riverspromise.org, riverspromise.com works as well. I got food on my mind. If you ever click Greatest Need, I guarantee you on a month-to-month basis, the greatest need is actually food. All right, let's do the stolen memes section of the show. We just talked to Sherry Cree. I want to thank her. Again, her website is homeswithsherry.com. homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com, and be sure to tell her that you heard me talking about her. All right? We have a private chat that goes on during the show, and I just clicked over there because there was a message pending, and I thought it might be for me. It was producer Chad telling Sherry Cree, who was waiting, sorry, Sherry, he'll be right with you. Jimmy gets fired up about chili. Dang right I do. Dang right I do. You got to put akabanga in your chili, too. Yeah. You can do sour cream. I don't mind that at all. No problem at all. What you top of your chili with is not my business. That's what you do in your chili bowl is not my business. I'm a libertarian, and I believe in you having privacy, full expression in your chili bowl. You do whatever the heck you want to do with it. All right, stolen memes section of the show. We go around the internet and we steal memes. That's all we do. We just steal memes from great people and great commentators. Some of it's just funny. Some of it proves a point. Some of it illustrates the absurdity. We do it together. Ready? Here's the cheap prop we have here on this cheap show. Round and round the globe we go where we steal the memes from. No one knows. Well, now you know it's Babylon Bee. Exhausted white liberal women clock in for another long day protecting migrant sex offenders. Yeah, there they are. Blue hair. Round and round the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. I think this came from Stacy in Texas, I believe. This is, a storm is coming. She said this is what the H-E-B stores look like in Texas yesterday. H-E-B is one of the great grocery stores in America. If you're not from Texas, you don't know what an H-E-B is. Wasn't as prominent when I'm there, but I've been to H-E-Bs. They're fantastic. Really are. And they also serve the Whataburger ketchups, or you can buy them. I'm also told that Walmart now has, in Colorado, has the Whataburger ketchup, which is a very unique ketchup. It's very good. Throw that out there. Thank you, Stacy. Round and around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Oh, this also, I think, came from Stacy. So it could be a blizzard out there. It doesn't matter. We're fighting ice. Mom, we're going to Whataburger. You want anything? Oh, I wish there was so far away. They're so far away. Colorado Springs, too far away for a Whataburger. Why'd they put them all down there? I don't even know. I could have, yeah. Yeah. Round around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Pouring myself another glass of whiskey because today would have been my birthday if I was born today. I'm going to, if I was born today, it'd be my birthday. So I'm going to have myself a little glass, a little toddy. Yeah, that's a good idea. Round around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Parenting 101, teach your kid to change their oil, not their gender. Parental advice right there in a nutshell. Teach your kid to change their oil, not their gender. Listen, I'm not great at oil changes. My dad tried to teach me, but I never thought about changing my gender. So I was still raised right. Still suck at oil changes. Round around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. It's the little things in life that make you laugh. I never really understood until I saw two midgets fighting at Walmart. Did we just do midget humor on the program? I think we just did midget humor. I think they're called little people. But yeah, we just did midget humor. Jim says the meme globe thing would be a great way, a teaching tool to explain why we have interest in Greenland. Let's see. See, Greenland is right up there. And Russia is right there. So Russia's not on the other side of the globe. It's about an inch away. Remember that. Got to get Greenland. Round around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. There are two types of people in the world. The ones you drink whiskey with and the ones who make you drink whiskey. Profound. It is so profound. It's very deep. I feel like it's Confucius almost. Round around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. When two lesbians ask AI to generate a family photo before and after. I'm not laughing at that. I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing. Yeah, that's horrible. Round around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from. There it is. China has said, stop it. Knock it off. You steal too much intellectual property. We're the kings of intellectual theft, not you, Lakey. So we've just heard from the Far East, and they've said stop. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget Rivers Promise would love to make a donation today. When you see any of the reels or memes of the show, please spread them, pass them around. And if you want to contact us, you can go to info@jimmylakey.com. Send us an email, info@jimmylakey.com. Again, donation link. We're talking food today. riverspromise.org, riverspromise.org. We'd love to have you be a part of what we're doing in Rwanda and learn more about our organization and the work that we do in Rwanda through Rivers Promise, riverspromise.org. Some great film work, documentaries there. Producer Chad has put together. So we'd love to have you participate with us today. Make a donation today. Go right now. Don't put it off. And we appreciate it, especially those who got those direct deposits today. We appreciate you. Until we meet again next week, I am Jimmy Lakey. Thank you, producer Chad. Been a fun week. The Roadshow week is done. Got to see Laura Carno in person, Sherry Cree in person. Got to see a lot of you that watch this show every day in person. We appreciate it. Keep liking, keep sharing, keep telling your friends and neighbors. Lakey is unleashed every morning, Monday through Friday. Until we meet again next week, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. May God bless you. May God bless America. I am Jimmy Lakey. Peace. I'm out of here.